Hello and welcome back to Heart of Amethyst. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after our Ehlly here got himself not exactly arrested, but he was detained by the king and taken to the little island fortress, and he found himself in front of two new people. I believe his name is Almond, and I don't remember what the other guy's name is. He's like a tall. I wanted to call him one of those like tall wolf or foxes, but I forget what they're called too. um, but yeah, he's about to speak to the king, so let's see what's gonna happen there. Once outside, I'm met by the cool breeze of the night. Ikalis and Almond are nowhere to be seen, which unfortunately leaves me by myself with a huge angry wolf, whom is leaning on a pillar, his eyes locked on the distant city which can be seen from here. Took you long enough. It's this way, don't fall behind. He turns around, giving his back to me and heading towards the end of the hallway, not saying another word. His tone is still cold and distant, but it's not hateful and furious anymore. I wonder if something happened. Either way, I follow him through the many hallways of the castle. He told me to keep up the pace, but I can't help being a little curious about this place. Everything is so new to me. I've never been to a palace after all. Taking a look around as we walk, I can see a few candles lighting the corridors, some banners and fancy-looking portraits of landscape, and wolves in fancy costumes. The royal family, I presume. There is this specific portrait that catches my eye. In it, you can see the old king, who must be in his 50s or 40s. Accompanying him are two young teenage wolves, I'm guessing his two sons. There are many rumors surrounding them, as nobody knows for sure what happened to them. Runt, hurry up! I hear Roderick yelling from the end of the hallway. I take a last glance at that portrait before heading his way. After many more steps, we finally reach a very big wooden door. He stops so suddenly that I end up bumping into him. Yet, he doesn't budge an inch. Is this guy really a canine? He could be a bear in disguise if you ask me. Scary animals, I tell you. Mr. Biscotti and I got attacked by one once. The king is waiting for you inside. Try anything, and this time I won't hesitate. Understood? I nod, not wanting to get on his bad side. Or not any more than I already am. He says nothing else, pushing the door open for me and standing still by the entrance. The first thought that comes to my mind as I see the room behind the door is huge. This place is ridiculously enormous. There is row after row of pillars on each side, many windows, and a huge red carpet leading to a throne. It's a very big and nicely decorated chair, but aside from that, it's just a glorified seat. The king is currently sitting on it, looking as old as always. No surprise there. Come closer, boy. I do as he requests, walking a few steps closer to the throne. This room is very spacious, so it takes me like 30 seconds to actually reach its side. Impressed? You should see the throne room at the royal castle. That one is 10 times bigger. Up close, I can finally notice how tiny he looks sitting on this huge chair. His legs don't actually reach the ground, yet he sits straight up, trying to look as imposing as physically possible for him. His body language doesn't match his tone though, as he's speaking very casually to me, as if I was his long-lost grandson. Or that's the vibe he gives to me. Still, I can't help but feel uneasy, as if I'm not sure how to address this man. I don't want to seem disrespectful. Should I bow? Better safe than sorry. I decide to lean on my knee and bow in front of him, looking straight to the ground as I do so. That's not really necessary, my boy. Please, stand up. Yes, my king. I stutter in my words as I stand back up. I don't like the idea of talking to him like this. Not after what I did. I appreciate that he didn't kill me, but somehow it just feels wrong that he's this calm about it. Don't be so tense, boy. I just wish to have a casual conversation with you. I was actually planning on inviting you for dinner, but you were asleep for longer than I expected. If by asleep you mean unconscious, then yeah, I guess that's fair. I'm not sure of what to say, so I just listen to him talk. May I know your name? I'm sure you must be tired of me calling you boy all the time. Ehlly, sir. That's my name. He places his hand on his gray beard. I can't really tell by his expression, but it seems like he's lost in thought. I stare at him a little too long, and eventually our eyes meet. I look away immediately, both in shame and fear. He sighs at that, but his smile never vanishes from his face. Are you sorry for what you did, Ehlly? The question catches me off guard. I can feel the shame eating me from the insides, making me feel like that time when I got arrested. Shit, I just keep messing up. Why can't I do anything right? It takes me a moment to actually formulate the right words. I am, sir. I really am. The explosive? I didn't know, that it would be so big. They didn't tell me it would be that large. I'm not trying to make excuses, I swear. I really didn't know. I begin to get worked up, but he calms me down by raising his hand, signaling me to slow down. It's okay. Don't fret, Ehlly. I can see that your heart is in the right place. If nothing, it's my fault as a king that such a young soul ended up like this. As he says that, the old man looks legitimately angry, to the point that I can notice him gripping his cane harder. It takes him a moment to recover his calm demeanor, but as soon as he does, his smile returns to his face. How old are you, boy? I'm 21, sir. Not technically true, but I'm just a week away from my birthday, so I guess it doesn't really matter. And are your companions as young as you? Companions? Yes, you mentioned that someone didn't tell you about how big the bomb was. May you tell me who they are? Damn, I let that slip. He confused me with all that nice talk, and now he has me right where he wants me. The old man is playing his part as the good guard perfectly, luring me to believe I was safe with him. Has this been a trick from the start, and he'll just kill me once he gets the information he needs? Would he do that though? Is this man that kind of person? Look, I don't know. I've never been in this situation like this. Maybe I should just tell him all he needs to know. Maybe he'll be merciful if I spill the beans. But should I really do that? Am I really going to betray them like this? I mean, this might save my neck, and they are not exactly my friends. But being a dirty snitch just feels wrong. I don't know, sir. They hired me because I'm good at picking locks, but I have no connection to them. The king remains quiet, as he seems to be pondering my words. My palms are sweating, and I'm pretty sure I must be shaking. Alright, one last question before we continue. Roderick insisted that I ask you this. How did you acquire such a big explosive? Did your people strike a deal with someone? Anything you can tell me is welcomed. It figures that it would look suspicious for some street no one to own such a dangerous weapon. But what led him to believe there was a third party involved? Gee, now I'm also curious as to who this benefactor was. Sadly, this time I can't tell him anything, even if I wanted to. I'm actually not sure, sir. They said that they got it from a benefactor, but they never mentioned a name or even a race. This time I try to be as truthful as I can to him, leaving all the details about the gang out of it, of course. Those jerks better thank me properly. If I make it out alive, that is. Alright then, the serious talk is over. Walk with me, Ehlly. The king throws his crown at me, and I barely catch it. Is he crazy? Isn't this thing worth like 1,000,000 Andros? He just nods and smiles before standing up. Good catch. You have excellent reflexes, my boy. Thank you? I reluctantly place the crown on the ground, keeping an eye on the old man's movements in case he wants to throw me something else. Instead, he just moves past me, walking to the other side of the hall. So, I will follow. Why don't you tell me a little about yourself, Ehlly? He looks back at me expectantly, making me feel even more nervous than before, as he now wants me to do the talking. Well, I don't know what to say, sir. I enjoy reading? Oh, you do? That's wonderful, boy. Books are so interesting, aren't they? I guess so? Is this man for real? What the hell do you want from me, old man? Get to the point. Have you read the Holy Scriptures? It's well known that the young ones don't really care about them much, but I think we should all read them, at least once in our life. I have read them, sir. I have lied. I mean, I've glanced through them, but I've never been truly interested in our Savior's words or his teachings. I guess I still believe in what my mother told me, even if the rest of the world seems to be oblivious to the existence of the Apostle. And where do you hail from, Ehlly? You're not from Yagnir, are you? I'm from a no-name village to the southwest. I see. You've come from far away then. Have you enjoyed your stay in the city? I fake a smile, trying to make it look as genuine as possible. If you knew all the awful things that your shithead guards do, I'm sure that beard of yours would fall off. But I'll refrain. Probably not the best moment to trash mouth. At least not in front of the king himself. To some extent, yes. It's been interesting. There's no real need to lie, boy. I've been surrounded by scheming snakes for longer than I'd like to admit. I know to recognize a fake smile when I see one. Besides, I know the situation in town isn't the best. Even as he says that, his smile returns to his face, as if he found the whole thing amusing. That makes me angry, as I can't help but think about all the people that suffers daily because of this jerk's incompetence. I grip my fists and give him a nasty look, but he returns a smile instead. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Why haven't I done anything? Correct? If you always knew, then why? Why do you let them suffer like that? Do you know how hard it is to make it to the end of the day? The people struggle and all you guys do is sit your asses in your expensive chairs. I let my anger get the best of me. I clearly stepped out of the line, but fuck it, it's so frustrating to see him laughing about it when hundreds suffer. The man remains quiet, but as I stop my rumbling, a sad smile crosses his face. Because I can't. Sadly, this is not my kingdom anymore. I've outgrown my responsibilities. And now, I'm just a useless old man. His answer takes me by surprise. He's not mad at me for yelling him. He just seems angry at himself. But you, my boy, you're the ray of hope that I've been looking for years. I'm sure that the goddesses brought you to me with purpose. He looks to the sky from one of the windows. He's still smiling. Me, on the other hand, I'm as confused as ever. What does that mean? Ah, let an old man have his secrets. I'm sure you'll find out in due time. He says nothing after that. He just stands there in silence. He looks outside while I look at him, trying to process what he just told me. But as hard as I try to think of a reason, I can't find any. Ehlly, tell me, are you aware of what happened to my sons? I tilt my head, unsure of what to say. I merely know the rumors. Supposedly, they went on a trip to the border of the territory. As they passed by the mountains, they got attacked. One of the king's sons was murdered, and the other ended up injured. Truth be told, nothing has ever been confirmed. I know that they got attacked, but nothing else. It was about 26 years ago, my boy. My second grandkid
had just been born, and his father, my older child, had to go with his brother to a political meeting. I can still remember the look on his face. He was rather worried as he had to leave his little baby in my care. Same for my younger son, as he left his kid as well. His puppy was older though, 2 years older if memory serves me right.
He chuckles sadly as he keeps his eyes glued to the moon.
Luckily for me, the maids were there to help me, or else I wouldn't have been able to take care of those little rascals on my own.
He laughs once more, and I just stare dumbfounded at him, still unsure of where he wants to go with all of this.
A week after, a messenger told me that Marcus had died, and Richard would soon follow him. Luckily, the goddesses blessed me, deciding not to take my younger son with them. Still, they took his sight. I was devastated. My 2 boys ripped away from me just like that. That day I made an oath to make this kingdom a safer place and still be king while doing so. It's been almost 30 years since that day, and I've done nothing.
I feel bad for the little man in front of me. I often call him the useless, but I've never stopped to think how hard it must be to run a kingdom, especially at his age. Is that why you haven't passed the crown?
I would like to think so, but things are never as simple as they seem. Never forget that, boy.
Another phrase to leave me wondering. Half of the things this man say make no sense. Sir, why are you telling me all of this? Finally, I managed to snap his attention back to me.
Would it be enough that I told you that an old man just wants some company?
There are many scenarios where that is a valid answer, but not this one. I really want to know, sir.
Mind if we walk a little before I answer your question? There is no need to rush things.
I sigh, but the man decides to walk a few steps around the room, not paying much attention to me anymore. I just limit myself to follow beside him, giving the company he claims he wants. The old man clearly knows something I don't, and I'm falling right on his game. But what are we even playing? What does he want from me? After a few minutes, he finally stops, the light of the moon reflecting on his gray fur.
Alright then, now that I've stretched my legs, I feel rather honest. Tell me, what do you want to know?
The first question that comes to my mind is a rather obvious one. Will I be able to leave the island anytime soon? The old man places his hand on his chin and caresses his beard slowly. I look at it with anticipation, waiting for the answer.
I think that for now, the best is to keep you here. But you're not a prisoner, Ehlly. You'll be able to leave if you prove yourself to be trustworthy. Please, try to understand. You attempted to steal from the king, and you could have killed me with that explosive. That's high treason, no matter how you look at it.
I sigh, not surprised at all. I knew it wouldn't be so easy, but it didn't hurt to try. May I request something then? He nods, taking his eyes off of me and directing towards the moon once again. I look at it as well. It's a full moon, really beautiful. I want to send a letter to my mentor. He must be worried sick, and I want to let him know that I'm okay. And would it be okay to send some gold as well? I help him with a shop, and without me, he'll have many difficulties making money.
I can arrange for that, Ehlly. Consider it done. I'll make sure a letter reaches him, with some jewels added, of course.
His smile seems sincere, which calms me down a little. I still feel bad for leaving like that, but at least now I know he'll be taken care of. Thank you.
Of course. Anything else you need?
Well, all there is left to know is, why am I here? Is there something you need from me?
Are you saying that you don't want to be here?
No, sir, that's not what I mean. I know nothing about your intentions. I'm just a stray from the street.
Yet you say that I'm the hope. Why? Oh, Ehlly, I was just joking, my boy. Don't make that face.
His smile returns, and I can't help but feel frustrated, as he seems to take nothing serious. Please, sir, just help me understand the situation better.
Yes, of course, I understand. But like I said, I can't reveal all my cards, at least not yet, boy.
What does that even mean? Is he actually trying to play some sort of sick, twisted game with me? Damn it, I hate being left in the dark like this. But considering my options, I think it's best to keep playing along as best as I can. At least for now. What card can you reveal then? The old man takes a few steps closer to me and places his hand on my shoulder.
I have a proposition for you.
His smile widens as he takes his time to formulate the next sentence.
Ehlly, how would you like to become my retainer?
I stare at him, not really sure of what he means by that. What is a retainer anyway? I'm sorry, what? The old man laughs at my ignorance. Total biscotti vibes on this one.
I'm giving you a job, young fox. A very well-paid one at that. You'll have to keep me safe, and maybe keep me company from time to time. It can get rather lonely in this castle after all.
I'm taken aback by this. He's not being serious. He can't be. Me? A nobody from the streets working for the king himself? There's just no way. But sir, I'm nothing but a lowlife. I'm no knight or warrior.
Of course, but that doesn't indicate your real worth. I can sense it, boy. You have potential. So don't worry. It has all been taken care of. Starting tomorrow, you'll be instructed both academically and physically.
Did he have all of this planned from the get-go? What is this guy's deal with me? There has to be a reason behind it. Fuck, I feel so powerless right now. I hate it. I remain quiet, trying to focus on my thoughts, which seem to be all over the place. But then the king coughs, bringing my attention back to him. So, what's your answer, Ehlly? As if I had any choice to begin with, and he knows it. That's why he has that damn cheeky smile on his face. I'll need to accept, but I'm not giving him the satisfaction of knowing how annoyed I am. Well played, your majesty. I would be honored, your majesty.
As splendid! I look forward to seeing your progress.
The king playfully slaps my butt, laughing it off soon after, as if nothing happened. Guy, what the heck is wrong with this old man?
But it is rather late. You better hit the bed, boy. You have a busy day tomorrow. Sir Roderick, please come in.
He yells loudly, and soon after the door to the room opens. Soon after the knight enters the room, with a sore look on his face, I might add. Which he tries to hide with a frown as soon as he sees me looking at him.
Sir Roderick, great news! Sir Ehlly accepted my offer and will be working with us, starting tomorrow, of course.
So I've heard. He says with a certain annoyed tone in his voice, but this time I can't tell if he's mad or just tired. Either way, I don't interrupt them. I've learned to remain quiet around Roderick.
If you may, escort Sir Ehlly back to his room. He must be greatly tired.
As you wish, my king. He bows once more and then turns around towards the door. He doesn't spare me one single look, but I'm sure I must follow. So I spare the king one last smile before setting off to the hallway. Back to my room it is. After a little walk, we return to the tower where my room is at. This time, I'm a little out of breath, as we had to climb many stairs to get back here. I'm so ready to hit that bed, but as soon as I went to open the door... Hold it. The knight grabs my wrist and holds me in place. Seems like that has become a habit between us. He's not inflicting any pain, but he's not letting me go either, so I'm not sure of what I should do. Fuck, can he just let me be for once? Listen, Runt, the king is a very kind man. Kinder than I would like, but I have no right to complain about that. His face seems tired for a moment, but he soon regains his usual aggressive self, getting closer and closer to me. My point is, I'll accept his choice to take you in, but I don't trust you. So you better make sure to not fuck this up, or else I'll make you regret to have ever been born. His eyes lock with mine. This time I get a real good glance at them. They are as red as blood, and they seem to be full of conviction. I nod slowly and carefully. His face is mere inches away from mine. I can even feel his hot breath hitting against my nose. He's out of breath as well, so I guess I'm not the only one who got tired by the stairs. Good. And with that said, he lets go of me, turning around and slowly walking away until he disappears at the end of the hall. I remain there for a while, still feeling the pressure of his hand on my wrist. I guess my life won't ever be the same. I better start getting used to all of this, because for now, this craziness has turned into reality. I can't feel anything. Is this a dream? I'm just floating in nothingness. The more I try to focus, the more lost I feel, as if all my senses have been numbed completely. Or as if I don't exist. Then I begin to hear it. A whisper, or more like a mumbled cantric. Whichever it is, I know I'm not alone. The voice is forcing its way inside my head, and I can't stop it, as I have no hands to cover my ears with. I'm feeling frightened for some reason, as my body knows that this presence is bad news. This being is making me really uncomfortable. But I don't know where it is. I just know it's near. His whispers fill my ears, ringing through my whole body, making it impossible for me to focus on anything else. What is it saying? I can't understand it. Suddenly, a jolt of pain runs through my spine. I can feel again. I came back, but not really. Is this really my body? Am I really here? Is this really me, or am I just an illusion? Am I a liar? Everyone lies. Everyone has something to hide, and that hurts them. But they still do it, because it would hurt even more to tell the truth. That's why I can't trust anybody. Everyone is my enemy. I am all alone. For the past 10 years, I've been lying to myself, trying to find happiness when I know that there's no such thing. Maybe I should just... I wanted to live a happy life, Ehlly. It's all I've ever wished for. A quick flash of my mom's last words send the intrusive thoughts out of my head and shut the whispers for good. But before the presence vanishes, I need to ask it something. Who are you? I'm the one who remains in the dark. Hey, wake up. I cover my face as I feel the piercing light of the morning hurting my sensitive pupils. I can see Ikalis standing by the window as he pulls the blinds wide open. I grunt and roll around in bed, wishing for just a few more minutes of blissful sleep. I try to go back to that dream I was having, but it's no use, it's gone. My mind just erased it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. What was I dreaming about? You really are a heavy sleeper. I tried knocking, but it was no use, so I let myself in. I sit on the bed's edge, rubbing my eyes as I try to get rid of the morning drowsiness. Soon I notice that being sleepy isn't the only morning syndrome that I have. I try to play it cool, covering my manhood with my hands as I look away. It's past the 8th hour. Your tutoring lessons begin at once, so make yourself decent. Can you give me a minute? What for? We don't have all day. I decide not to respond to his question, to which he seems to notice the position of my hands, catching on what was going on. Yes, I should give you some time then. His cheeks grow red and mine get even redder. Our eyes meet for a second, and he ends up panicking, hitting himself with the door on the way out. I remain there trying to calm my beating heart and my beating member as well. Shit, that was so embarrassing. It takes little Ehlly a few seconds to get down, but as soon as he does, I decide to get up from the bed, stretching my sore muscles a little. That bed really is a blessing. I've never felt so good in my life. Looking around, I notice that my clothes have been neatly folded on top of the desk. I put on my pants, noticing that they feel fresh and clean. So I take my shirt and sniff it. It is clean, and it smells so nice. But who did it though, and when? Gee, I really am a heavy sleeper. I didn't even notice when someone came in and grabbed my things. Well, no use thinking about that now. I better let Ikalis know that I'm finished. I'm ready, you can come in. The tall guy enters the room, keeping his eyes away from mine. It's okay, I'm set and ready to go. He still looks nervous but tries to compose himself as he walks to the other end of the room, placing some books and papers on top of my desk. So, tutoring? Yes, tutoring. You'll be the king's retainer from now on, so I'm in charge of your education. As if I don't have enough work already. He whispers that to himself, probably thinking that I didn't hear him. He organizes some of the things he brought with him, and then takes a seat on the desk, pulling up another chair. He seems uninterested though, as he's currently looking outside through the window. His face is calm but seems somewhat sad at the same time. It takes me a while to understand, but he's clearly waiting for me to sit there. So I lazily walk towards the chair, but he stops me before I sit down. I told you to get decent. There's water right there. Wash your face. I'm not sure I should take that as an insult or not, but either way, I decide to obey. I make my way towards a barrel placed in the corner of the room, which is indeed filled with water. If you want to take a proper bath, you can do that after class. For now, just make sure you're awake. We're on a schedule. I nod to that, holding the edge of the barrel on my hands and gulping. I bet this water is freezing. And I hate cold water. I hold my breath and submerge my head inside the barrel. Being under the water, my mind feels clear for a second. It's a little hypnotic, making me wish to stay there for a while, just listening to the water flow. It's a nice sensation and it reminds me of something, but I can't put my finger on what it is. The sound of the bubbles makes all other sounds fade away, as if I'm surrounded by nothingness. I get out of the water as soon as I hear that creepy voice. I've heard that voice before, but what is it? Did you hear that? Hear what? He raises one eyebrow back at me, which is proof enough that he didn't hear a thing. Maybe I'm just tired. Yeah, it must be that. No, never mind. It was nothing. I offered him a smile, but he just shrugged it off, taking his eyes off of me and back to the window. After that weird event, I decide to walk back to the desk, and this time he allows me to sit beside him. The odd fox looks bored. I keep my eyes glued at him, trying to figure him out. I've never seen a fox this tall. His face is long and slim, but that doesn't make him look feminine at all, just sophisticated. To put it somehow. I call him slim, but he still has some nicely defined muscular body. You there? He catches me red-handed, offering me an odd look. I try to look away, not suspicious behavior at all. He sighs to that, grabbing one piece of paper and placing it between the two of us. It's a map. You sure you're awake now? Your head seems to be in the clouds. Yeah, I'm awake now, I say softly, slapping my face for good measure. So, a map? Yes, a map. Your first lesson will be geography and an overall revision of history. I tilt my head. Does he think I'm a damn infant? But I know those things. We'll see about that. Ready? He says it right back at me, making me smile. This guy's tongue is sharp. So I cross my arms, giving him the cue to carry on with his lesson. Alright then, as you probably know, this is the map of our continent, named Tibarn. Yes, I know that. Alright then, let's proceed with the three known powers or empires of this continent. Do you know the names? Yes, of course. We have the Holy Kingdom of the Canines, Canidia. All of a sudden, a part of the map lights up with a dim red light. I jump to that, but Ikalis doesn't move an inch. Oh, what's that? This map was built with a specific ink, which shines depending on the magic flows that are given by a magician. Me, in this case. Oh, that's so awesome! I've never seen this sort of magic. Well, it's not really magic. Most of the work is done by the map itself. Anyone can do it, really. Even me? I've never used magic in my life. Let's leave that for another class. Please, carry on. Okay. I feel a little neglected as he says that. I was so hyped about learning magic. So, the next one would be the Democratic United States of the Birds. They don't have a known name, if I'm not mistaken. Right on cue, a tiny part of the map lights up with a blue shine. You know why they don't have a known name for their kingdom? No, not really. I'm sure the old man must have explained it to me at some point, but I completely forgot. Didn't you say you knew all these things? I can hear him chuckle beside me. My cheeks turn red immediately, feeling embarrassed. Well, as you've said, there are many states in this kingdom. Thanks to that, they've never managed to use their beloved democracy to agree on something, not even a name. They probably don't like each other that much then. Indeed, birds are elitists, and they always fight amongst themselves, trying to prove that they are the best. Those internal conflicts were part of the reason why they lost the war 500 years ago. As a consequence of losing, their once huge empire got reduced to this. Yeah, the time of Andreas the Savior, right? Ikalis says nothing to that, so I figured that I should ask something else. Was it really that big? Imagine the blue spot combined with the red one, and even some more territory to the east. Wow, they were huge. Yes, indeed they were, but such a big kingdom was doomed to perish. They ended up falling under the weight of their own ambitions. He then closes his eyes, caressing the pages of the book he's holding. I wonder what's going through his head now. Anyways, please carry on. Oh, yeah, okay. The last one is the feline island, Thenia. Thenia lights up green, right at the far east side. Okay, good. But there are two more territories that I wish to discuss. These aren't named as kingdoms and don't follow any specific ruler. Still, that doesn't mean people don't live there. He snaps his fingers, and then two more colors light up on the map. The yellow one you see to the far east are the Wastelands, which are inhabited by the many barbaric tribes of Arthur. Arthur? The first barbarian that proclaimed his people didn't need any sort of help from the kingdoms, hence separating himself from the rest of the continent. Politically speaking, of course. Why would he do that? Ikalis places a hand on his chin, probably trying to remember the many historical facts he's got stuck in that head of his. If I'm not mistaken, when the war was at its peak, the birds hired barbarians, as a last attempt to counteract the canines that were gaining a lot of strength by that time. But the birds betrayed the barbarians, and as a consequence of that, Arthur's lover got murdered. Ew, that's quite tragic. Indeed, our history has countless stories like this one, the continent of conflict. That rings a bell, as I remember reading that phrase in one of the world's encyclopedias the old man owned. Ikalis, the 12, right? A sad smile crosses his face as he nods, but aside from that, he continues with his explanation. So, Arthur's story inspired the rest of the Wasteland's tribes to stay neutral, and after many years of conflict, Andreas came and stopped the war against the birds and the felines. The felines too? Yes, they were on the birds' side, aiding them with their many warships. Oh? That's new to me. I had no idea the felines were also involved. Most people don't, as they covered their tracks as best as they could. They wanted to pretend and be the victims, casted away to Thenia by the birds. Yet those hypocrites helped the same nation that once did them harm. Oh, I have another question. If Andreas stopped the war by the same time Arthur exiled the tribes, that means they lived by the same age? Indeed, some rumors say that Arthur was a good friend of King Andreas, but that's just that. A rumor. I nod, happy to see that I'm picking up on things. Having a class like this is far more comfortable than reading those damned encyclopedias. Besides, Ikalis is a good teacher. And what about these islands? I always thought that they belonged to the Canine Empire. But they are marked with a different color. I point towards the purple marked territory, which is all the way to the furthest south. Those are the Dakota Islands. No one controls that territory, and only pirates go through those waters. Which means that those islands are no man's territory, used by the pirates to do their shady business. As a matter of fact, it is highly likely that the bombs your group set yesterday was delivered by the pirates all the way from Thenia. My blood runs a little cold, as I can't help but feel bad about my actions yesterday. I really hope that no one got injured. Yeah, they screwed up pretty badly. Sorry. I am not here to be your judge, just your teacher. Whatever you did in the past, it's not my problem. An awkward silence fills the room for a while. So I try to think of a question to break it. And what about this place that has no color in the middle? That is Death Space, also known as the Skull's Valley. For many years, the Canine Kingdom has tried to take it, but the constant attack from barbarians has made that impossible. So it's a war zone. In a fewer words, yes. Neither the barbarians nor the king owns that territory. And a constant battle has been dealt with there for 80 years. None of the two bands is giving away that strategic territory, meaning that none can use it. And what makes it so special? The placement of the rivers. Having a fortress in between the two rivers would allow the kingdom to have control over the barbarians. And at the same time, it would make the traffic of different products easier. The barbarians know this, that's why they don't allow it. I see. Silence fills the room again, but this time Ikalis himself is the one who breaks it. Any other questions you might have? No, not for now at least. Alright then, let's proceed. He moves his fingers around and suddenly some more lines are drawn into the map, dividing the three kingdoms in many different territories. Alright then, this is the political division of the three kingdoms. As you can see, each one of them is divided by many areas. The ones from the Bird Kingdom are named states, and each is ruled by a selected member of their court, or senators. The felines, on the other hand, are divided into provinces, each under the name of their shogun, or high ruler. In other words, their version of the king, but unlike us, they have 3 shoguns instead of 1. And lastly, the Canine Empire, ruled by the king and subdivided on 5 viceroyalties. Letters suddenly appear on the map. I recognize all of these names as I've been to all of these places. Maryland, Dominance, Yagnir, Clumnia, Cantropia, Gel? The king has total control over 5 of the 6 territories, the church's territory being the only one not controlled by him. Each territory is governed by a different viceroy, who belongs to one of the 5 biggest ruling families of the kingdom, not considering the king's family, of course. The king's family being the most powerful of them? Yes, exactly. The king is a direct descendant of the savior Andreas himself. That's why he rules over the other 5 with ease. I nod as I listen to his words. There are indeed many details that I did not know, so I'm glad he's giving me this run-over. What about the birds? What's the name of their states? We won't enter the names of the birds, mainly because there's too many and they're always changing. So there's no real use in learning them. So for now, just stick with the names of the canines. And talking about that, as you can see, the name of the biggest territory goes after the name of the royal city. Yagnir, the fallen mother of Andreas. A little white spot on the left side of the map lights up. And Laguna Castle would be... Yeah, very good. That one right across the big lake. Carrying on with the names, north of Yagnir we have the Holy Congregation of the Balanced Church, which is named Columnia. All this territory belongs to the church? Yeah, the church's power is quite large, why the current king must try to keep his best to keep them happy. He sighs, looking defeated after saying that. The church must be a bitter topic for him. Can't help but wonder if something happened. Oh, by the way, I've been wondering, what are you to the king? Whatever do you mean? Like, are you his long-lost cousin, or just his friend? He seemed a little taken aback by my question, remaining silent for a while before answering it. I'm just his retainer, such as you. But before you ask, no. That's not all I do for a living, as I must perform my duties as a Grand Master of the library as well. Wait, you are the Grand Master? I shout louder than I intended, clearly annoying him in the process. Sorry, it's just... I thought that the Grand Master would be an old-looking man with a beard. Most of them were, but I had to take the spot when I was 19 years old. Whoa, that's so young. How old are you? 23. Wow, you're not much older than me. It's quite impressive. You're awesome. As I look up, I can notice some blush showing on his cheeks. This guy gets flustered really easily. Kinda cute. And here I thought we had something in common, being the only fox and all. His face turns angry in a flash, showing me his discontent with my comment. I'm a wolf. Pardon? I'm a wolf, Ehlly. A crim wolf. Not the first idiot that doesn't know the difference. He whispers that last part again. I'm not sure if he really thinks I don't hear him, or he just does it on purpose. Besides, my species has nothing to do with what I do. I've earned this spot by my own merit. What the fuck is this problem? I didn't even mean it like that. I just assumed he was a fox. Still, it looks like a soft spot for him, so I better drop it. I'm sorry, I had no idea. It doesn't matter. Let's continue. The wolf regains his usual demeanor, emotionless and calm. Seems like the race is over. It feels like an eternity, but he finally finishes explaining the other territories to me. There's way too many dates and facts for me to remember. It feels as if I'm reading the encyclopedia, but this one has a voice. The bad side, my head hurts. The good side is, I learned a lot from this class. It's almost time for lunch. We should stop for today. He finally says, placing the book back on the desk. I can't help but sigh, feeling relieved as my brain was already on the verge of collapse. You survived. I'm impressed. Yeah, very funny, Mr. Smartypants. Jokes aside, you should review all I taught you when you have the time, or else you'll forget. With that said, I'm hungry, so I'll see you later. The wolf stands up and walks to the entrance, ready to leave the room. At first, I have nothing to tell him, so I'm about to let him leave, but then I remember. Oh wait, Ikalis, I have something I want to ask you. Yeah? He says with a tired voice as he turns around. The wolf clearly doesn't want to be here more than necessary. Can you explain to me how magic works? I can't take that out of my head since you explained to me the whole magical ink thing. At first he seems reluctant to do it, but he suddenly sighs and shrugs his shoulders, uninterested as always. Alright, I see no harm in teaching you the basics. Come outside. Really? He nods, signaling me to follow him outside of my room. I open the door for the both of us, allowing the wolf to take a few steps ahead of me. He does so and then turns around, facing me. Why are we here? Well, I'll be demonstrating some, so I would rather do it here, in a more open space. Ah, gotcha. Safety first. He just nods and I remain quiet, allowing the wolf to concentrate on whatever he's doing. Magician stuff, I guess. First things first. Do you know what mana is? Not really. You mentioned it, but I don't really know what it is. I'm guessing it's some sort of energy? He nods, placing his hand on his chin as he thinks of something. Mana, also known as Krim, is the raw energy of the world. In simple words, it's the life force of everything. Everyone has Krim inside of them, but most people never notice it, as it's a natural thing, such as breathing or taking a shit? Yeah, that's one way to put it. I chuckle a little as I find it funny to see his usual cold expression shift like that. And I've had the honor to see it a few times today. Anyways. Second question. Have you ever wondered why people have different eye colors? That's thanks to their parents, right? Not really. There are many cases of children being born with eyes different from their mom or dad. So to put it simply, when the goddesses gave us their gifts, they came in the form of raw mana. In other words, they created the mana and gave it to us. But as you know, there are 3 goddesses, which means that there are 3 different kinds of mana. The physical mana, given by Greymon, allows us to be strong and resistant. The soul mana, given by Yum, allows us to connect with others and have emotion. And the mind mana, given by Ligeri, is the one that allows us to understand the world around us. We all have the 3 types of Krim inside of us, but each person has a different type of mana proficiency, presented by the color of our eyes. He points to his eye, which is blue as the sky. The sons and daughters of Yum have green eyes. They can connect with others and themselves more easily. That's what we call soul magic. That sort of magic allows them to control people's emotions and their state of mind. That sounds scary. He scoffs and rolls his eyes, not paying much attention to my comment. In the wrong hands, any type of magic can be deadly. Anyway, as I was saying, soul magic can be performed by experienced green-eyed people. On the other hand, we have the Red Eyes, also known as the sons and daughters of Gramoon. This use of Krim is the most simple of all, as it can control the flow of the mana, channeling it on their own bodies, which gives them impressive physical abilities. The most experienced ones can even channel the Krim on their weapons, making them more resistant and deadly. That would be Roderick. He nods and says nothing else to that. I wonder if Roderick is capable of carrying that huge sword thanks to his Krim, or if he's just that strong. Time passes and for a while he stays quiet, and with his eyes closed. He seems to be concentrating on something, but I can't tell for sure. Maybe he forgot what he was going to say? As I'm about to approach him, He opens his eyes and lifts up his hand. It looks as if he was holding something, but there was nothing there. Lastly, the sons and daughters of Ligeri have blue eyes, such as myself. We understand the world better, allowing us to control it. We have the power of elemental magic. All of a sudden, a flame ignited on his palm. The air around him turns heavy, and I can't help but feel as if the whole world went dark all of a sudden, as my full attention is on the flame right now. I take a few steps back as I'm reminded of the bad memories I have with fire. Don't worry, I'm very good at controlling the mana. You can even touch my flame. I assure you it won't burn you. You crazy? I'm not touching that thing. I grab my hand, holding it close to me as if the flame was already burning it. You can trust me. Come closer. Fine. I nervously come close to the flame. It feels warm, but not as a normal flame. This one is quite comforting. I won't hurt you, he says as he probably notices my fear. Okay, I say, getting my hand close to the flame. It flickers, but it stays calm, not growing wider and not losing control. He really seems to know what he's doing. As close as I get to it, the flame doesn't burn me at all. I eventually cross my fingers with his, joining our hands together. He doesn't seem to mind, and I do really enjoy the sensation of the flame. But there is also the warmth of his hand. It's soft, nice, and very gentle. But I'm not sure if the flame has something to do with that, or that's just how Ikalis' hand is. Soon, I end up focusing on Ikalis' eyes instead of the flame. These seem to be burning bright as he looks deep into my own eyes. See? It's safe, he says softly, so I nod. At this point, the flame is something secondary. My full attention is on the wolf. I wouldn't hurt you like that. Magic isn't meant to harm. At least, that's my personal hypothesis. That's quite noble of you. After I said that, his cheeks began to turn a little red. Seems like he finally noticed how close I was to him. Snapping back to reality, the flame vanishes, and he keeps on watching me, not moving an inch, as if he actually turned into ice. He eventually takes my hand off of his, taking a few steps away from me. Anyway, back to the mana. As I've said, most people don't know it's there, as they believe that only certain gifted ones can control it. But that is not true at all. Everyone can control the Crim, it's just a matter of practice. That puts a smile on my face, as I think how cool it would be for me to make magic myself. So how can I learn it? I ask excitedly, but his face turns sour immediately, making me feel nervous. I'm not sure. But aren't you supposed to be like super good at magic? How come you don't know? He places his hand on his chin and sighs deeply. It's not that I can't teach you. It has to do something with your eyes. I instinctively touch my face as if there was something wrong with it. What does that mean? It has to do something with the color. There's never been anyone with purple eyes before. That's just unheard of. I spent last night trying to search for an explanation in many books, but I haven't found a thing. You're very unique, and I don't know why. I'll try teaching you elemental magic, but don't get your hopes up. For your sake. Even as he says that, I can't help but feel a little bad. Am I really that different? Mom had purple eyes too, after all. Maybe try asking Almond and Sir Roderick to teach you about the other crim uses. Who knows? Hopefully your eyes are a mere defect of nature, and it won't affect your magical abilities. You really think so? It's a possibility. He says that with a shrug, turning around towards the end of the hallway. I'm going to go get lunch. You should do the same. See you tomorrow. He begins to walk away from me, only stopping once before turning the corner. And try not to let Almond get the best of you. Good luck. And with that, he walks away, leaving me by my lonesome, with more questions than answers. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So, you got to see the little talk between Ehlly and the king and find out that he wants he wants Ehlly as a retainer. Which means that he's going to be not exactly his personal servant, but he's going to be basically at his beck and call. So if the king wants something from Ehlly, then Ehlly has to acquiesce to his request. Sort of. And it's kind of funny that basically the other three are going to have to like train him. That Ikalis is going to be his teacher. I'm assuming Almond is going to be teaching him something, and Roderick is going to be, I'm assuming, his like, not weapons instructor, but like he's going to teach him, basically how to handle himself, I guess. And I'm curious about the whole magic thing because Ehlly does have purple eyes, and I'm assuming, I'm guessing that it's going to be sort of like a combination of the three, of like, he's going to be able to tap into like the blue, the green, and the red crim, but it's going to be, it's going to take a while or something. It's not going to be like immediate for him, I'm assuming. What else? It's kind of funny that Ehlly basically like grabbed Ikalis' hand. Like, I would not have done that. I would have been like, okay, yes, I trust you. I'm putting my hand through your flame, and I'm, feeling that it's not burning me or whatever. I'm not like, oh, I'm touching your hand. I'm like holding hands with you and looking at your eyes intently. that felt to me a little weird, but like in a clueless kid kind of way. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on Ikalis and on the king's plan? Do you think he has something else in mind? Write down in the comments, obviously. And yeah. So thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Heart of Amethyst yourself and, figure out what's going on or whatever, you can find it over on Itch. And I'm assuming that the creator has a direct link to Heart of Amethyst on his Twitter page. So, I'm going to link to that. And I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next episode.